All right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back again. I'm back again. Uh, right now, currently it's halftime in this Eastern Conference Finals. Game two of the Eastern Conference Finals is halftime, so I have a little bit more time to burn to speak about this, and also I had more things to say. Uh, right when it comes to my prior my prior live stream, but yeah, but the lack of intellect, right, is astounding in these spaces, like I said in the prior live stream, especially when the irony is when it comes to a space like the so-called manosphere space, it was founded by intelligent individuals who was very socially and politically aware and who had a lot of intelligence to contribute to these spaces. So from where it began and what it has become, it's sort of like a de-evolution in these spaces. It's not sort of, it's definitely a de-evolution in this so-called manosphere space. And it's astounding. And it's like you could tell that the lack of intellect in this space is so contagious to the point of the fact that you have these weird talking points that have become very popular in these spaces, even though it's wrong. You get what I'm saying? Sort of like this stupid talking point that I hear a lot of people make when they speak about sexual intercourse between males and females, right? Where a motherfucker will go as far as to say that female sexual pleasure isn't necessary because a female orgasm is not needed to create life. But on the flip side, they say that male sexual pleasure is necessary because males need to uh climax or get an orgasm in order for a baby to be created, in order for that person to, if that said male, to ejaculate and impregnate a female. Now, you could tell that whoever agrees with this point is a dumbass, because if common sense will tell you that there's something called pre-ejaculation, right? Where if a male and a female have unprotected sexual intercourse, a male does not need to actually get an orgasm or climax in order for him to ejaculate and impregnate a female. Because if said male have unprotected sexual intercourse with a female and engages in and actually has pre-ejaculates, right? But never climax to get an orgasm, it is possible for that female to get pregnant. Males can ejaculate without going through an orgasm or a climax. So technically speaking, right? Based on that logic, based on the logic that a female orgasm or female climax isn't necessary in sexual intercourse because it doesn't give life, technically speaking, a male orgasm and a male climax isn't necessary because pre-ejaculation exists in order to give birth to. So are we going to say, with that logic, are we going to say that male sexual pleasure isn't necessary? Are we going to say that? See, these outrageous and bogus statements are fucking stupid. Oh shit. Hold on. Yo, these outrageous and bogus statements are fucking stupid. They're dumb. Also, there's another outrageous statement that at one point in time became very popular within these so-called manosphere spaces, or this so-called manosphere space, which is that morality is for the weak. Basically, when people make that statement or co-sign to that statement, they're trying to say that having that a person having any type of moral fiber or having some sort of moral compass is a weak individual. And that having a moral compass are for low level individuals. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. So you mean to tell me having a moral compass or having a set of principles, understanding right from wrong, makes you a weak individual or makes you a lesser person? That's dumb. I never heard of something so goddamn dumb in my motherfucking life. But when you have an online space or a couple of online spaces filled with people who lack intellect, then what will happen is that these outrageous, off the wall, and bogus statements will spread around like wildfire, and they'll be accepted by the many weirdos who are part of the space. This is why it's dangerous. This is why it's very dangerous to allow just anybody to come in within your fold because they might corrupt it. As you see this being done and have been done within the manosphere online space. Okay? Yo, this shit is outrageous. Yo, that was some outrageous shit. Another thing that's outrageous, another outrageous statement, such as removing women's rights. That like there's this belief that a lot of males have in this space that in which they believe that society will become better if females no longer have the right to get employment or an education. Basically, what they're saying is that the world will be better if females do not have equal opportunities as males in the society, which I don't understand how that I don't understand how removing a female's right to work or removing a female's right to get an education or even further removing a female's right to actually vote will actually help solve certain issues. And I don't think how's that going to make the world better? How's that going to make the world a better place to live in? How's that going to make the world safer? How is it going to solve? How's it going to solve like different economic crisis that happens every few years in America? How is it going to solve the Israeli and Palestinian conflict that's been happening for how many decades on and off? How is removing the females, how is removing the females' right to gain employment and education or even their voting rights is going to solve issues that we go through in Black America? Is removing women's rights going to solve the crime issue that plague Black America? Is removing women's rights going to solve the gun related homicides that plague Black America? How is it going to solve these major issues in the world? Is removing women's rights going to solve the different health issues that Black males in America have? Because I've stated this, and I've even made a video giving out the stats on this when it comes to black males. That black males as a demographic have the shortest lifespan in America than any other demographic of people. So I'm going to repeat myself. In the United States, so-called black males have the shortest lifespan among every other demographic of people in the country. So how is removing women's rights going to solve this issue? I don't get that. I don't understand that. I don't. I mean, you talking about you want to remove a female's right to gain employment in a world where most households need more than one income in order to survive, which means that most married couples in America cannot survive off of one person's income alone. In a world where the cost of living is only getting higher, groceries is getting higher, childcare, the cost of childcare is getting higher, medical bills, utility bills, property taxes, mortgage rates, they're increasing. And since most households in America need more than one income for survival, I don't see how in today's world that removing a female's right to gain employment is going to actually improve these things. See, when stupid motherfuckers come into this space, this is what you get. Exactly. Exactly. Third World Colombian. He said, Yup, I've been hearing niggas in this space say that for the past 2 to 3 years, they say having a moral compass makes black folks weak and that black folks need to focus on obtaining power. Yeah. And it's funny that the people who say that have no power. They don't know what it takes to gain power because if they did, they know that the people in power have a certain moral compass. This is why top-notch corporations, almost every top-notch corporations have a set of ethics that everyone within said corporation must follow. And ethics, really what ethics is just really a moral code. Like top-notch powerful organizations that's run by powerful people have a list of ethics in which all their employees must follow. And if and if such employees are caught breaking these breaking these ethics, they're in danger of being fired. Of being fired. Why? Because you can't gain power without a group, and that group must have a certain level of ethics, aka morals, in which they can properly deal with each other. For so said group can be able to stick together and organize together and remain in power. So principles is necessary for power. You can't be in the level of power and have little to no principles. Because if you do, guess what? Such group or such persons are in danger of falling out of power. Right, MOT. Buck breaking, buck breaking principle from people. Yeah. But Third War Colombian also stated, "Oh, I've also heard the same niggas who said have morals is weak also say a man having a wife or family makes him compromised. And they say fathers who have daughters are simps and compromised too." Right, right, right. Which is stupid, which is dumb. And these individuals can never make the correlation, factually speaking. They can never utilize facts to make the correlation on how a male who have a daughter automatically makes him compromised or a simp. I don't understand that. I don't understand how, I don't understand that. And these same individuals can never factually prove how a male being married to a female makes him quote unquote compromised. I don't understand that. But it's funny you brought that up, right? It's funny you brought that up, Third War Colombian, because that's going to get to my next point, in which these same individuals, right? These same individuals say that if you're married, you're compromised, will be the same individuals who tries to shame a female for not being married. You see that a lot of times, especially in this space, where if they have, if if someone is having a disagreement or an argument with a female, if a male is having a disagreement or an argument with a female, they'll then turn around and ask such female, "Are you married?" Especially if that female is over the age of 30. They'll ask that female that question, "Are you married? How old are you? Or how come you're this age and you're not married?" They'll try to shame that female for not being married by a certain age, but in the same breath, talk about how if a male gets married, he's compromised. I'm like, okay, okay. You say that a male who's married is compromised, but then shame a female who have not placed such male in a quote unquote compromised position. It's a contradiction. See, and that's when such talking points are wrong and incorrect because it's contradicting towards the other points that such persons would make. I would even hear people actually say that marriage is a form of tricking, right? They'll say that marriage is a form of tricking, right? But then at the same, and they'll say that a male who is married, he's a trick. So by that logic, what you're saying is that the wife in such a predicament is a prostitute. If a married male is a trick, then in the same breath you're saying that a married female is a prostitute. But yet these same dudes will try to shame a female who's not married. But if you think that marriage is tricking, you shouldn't shame a female for not being married. You should actually admire a female for not being married, because by your logic, an unmarried female is a female who refuses to be a prostitute. If a male's a quote unquote trick or a John, if he's married, then in that same breath is saying that his wife is a prostitute. So by that logic, you shouldn't not shame a female for not being married, no matter how old she is. Because by that logic, a female who's unmarried is a female who quote unquote is avoiding being a prostitute, right? And I don't understand how people correlate a a marriage with prostitution, because prostitution and marriage is two different things. Common sense will tell you that marriage, no, or let me get to prostitution. Common sense will tell you that prostitution is when a male or when someone in general pays for sex and sex only. That is it. Where sexual favors, where someone pays another person for sexual favors and sexual favors only. A marriage in its ideal state, right, is a lifelong commitment and a lifelong bond between persons who promise to be together and love each other, right? A marriage is a marriage is when someone establishes an independent household and a family and they work and survive together. So how do you mistake the two? Prostitution is payment for short-term sexual relations. Marriage is an agreement to lifelong commitment or at least long-term commitment. These two things are not the same. Now, I'm not saying that marriage in today's society is perfect because it's not. It's not. But to go as far as to say that marriage is a form of tricking, I have to disagree with that. And I have to say that's a dumbass statement. It's dumb. But this is due to the lack of intellect that have infiltrated these spaces. Lack of intellect, man. And it's crazy when you got people who think like that, man. It's very crazy when you got people who think that way and who believe this bullshit. Oh, they've been finished. Niggas like that been finished. Another dumbass talking point. That hold on. I had this other dumbass talking point in my memory bank, but it kind of left my memory bank a little bit. But you guys get the picture though. You guys get the picture. Exactly. They're obsolete like floppy disks. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Niggas talking like that in 2024, they finished. Exactly. Exactly. But a lot of these fucking talking points, it's just funny to me when it comes to the many people who co-sign these talking points, which shows you how a lot of people do not have critical thinking skills. Because if they did, then their critical thinking skills will put them in a position where they'll sit back and dissect these talking points. And as they dissect these talking points logically, they'll realize how these talking points don't make any fucking sense. Thus, they won't co-sign these things. But when people just co-sign these talking points, it shows you that they lack intellect. It seems as if a lot of people within the viewing audience co-sign these talking points because their favorite content creator say it's true, and therefore they blindly follow anything that their favorite content creators or stagnation creators, excuse my language, state. Like some blind sheep. You know, I hear another dumbass statement, right? Which was popular a few years ago, which is talking about pump and dump, right? Pump and dump. You know, now I'm gonna rattle some feathers, you know, where on one end you have people, who do not they'll make videos telling their audience to be careful of these quote unquote modern day females and how they are and what they'll do to manipulate you and deceive you and cause harm to your life. But then these same types of stagnation creators will actually promote the art of pumping and dumping and or being sexually promiscuous and sleeping with such females. And also at the same time, a lot of people who actually co-sign to this pump and dump culture are the same ones who shame single motherhood, who shame the aspect, who actually have something negative to say when it comes to children born out of wedlock. But common sense would tell you that one of the main factors to children being born out of wedlock is due to is due to promiscuity. Promiscuity is one factor that causes a lot of children to be born out of wedlock. It causes a lot of single mothers and single parents within Black America. Let's just keep it real. I mean, of course, there's other factors that bring about, single parenthood, especially in so-called Black America. But one of the main causes is promiscuity. But the thing is that a lot of people on here, they shame the result of promiscuity, but they promote promiscuity by promoting pumping and dumping. So you it's like you shame you shame, like you promote the cause, but you shame the results, which doesn't make any sense to me, because if you don't like the results of something, then you shouldn't promote one of the factors that cause that result that you do not like. That's what I mean. But when you lack intellect, when you lack intellect, you don't see this types of shit. This is what I'm saying. The lack of intellect that have infiltrated these spaces have caused individuals to believe these extreme, illogical, irrational talking points, which further radicalize a lot of the viewing audience and make them even dumber, because a large portion of the viewing audience who's consuming the stagnation, the content of the stagnation creators, are actually believing this shit. They believing this shit, man. And they themselves start spreading the same ridiculous talking points. Thus, it becomes this damn echo chamber of stupidity where people just damn echoing the talking points of their favorite stagnation creator without sitting back and actually thinking about the actual talking point and seeing if it has any type of evidence to prove that it's true. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, there's so much stupidity in this fucking space, man. So much stupidity in this fucking space. I'm telling you, the lack of intellect have caused a lot of people to promote and believe talking points that's obviously wrong, that's obviously illogical. It's sort of like the damn flat Earth theory, you know, because the flat Earth theory are for people who lack intellect. you know, and that's and the the way these flat Earth believers, like as retarded as these flat Earthers are, right? But there's nobody as retarded as people within these mainsphere spaces. I think a lot of the people, whether it's stagnation creators or viewing audience alike, I think they make up some of the most retarded people in this fucking world. The shit like that, like retarded people like that, is the reason why I'm a firm believer in eugenics, man. I've always been a firm believer in eugenics. because not everybody deserves to be to fucking procreate and give birth. Not everyone deserves that. I've stated for about maybe almost 20 years that motherfuckers need to have a fucking license in order to be a parent. Because if there are this much stupid adults in the world, and statistically speaking, most adults in the world have children. Thus, if there are that many dumbass adults in the world, imagine how even dumber their children are. And imagine how even dumber their children will grow up to be with such dumbass parents like that. Fuck out of here. Not everyone deserves to give birth. Not everyone deserves to procreate, man. Shit. Shit. Eugenics need to make a fucking comeback. Yo, these goddamn low level talking points, man. Uh, these people who lack intellect. And why is it? And let me tell you something. Let me ask you guys a question, right? You know what? That's for another video. You know what? I was going to ask this question, but that's for another video. I want to make that make another video concerning the question that I was about to ask, but I'm not going to ask. But anyhow, you guys, I'm out of here. You know, this is the end of this stream. Peace.